Yeah, we'll get a look at him in a second, but we'll start with number 5, Le Magnifique, looking to give Keith Dalgleish, Billy Garrity and Straight Line Bloodstock a double on the evening after Raymond's success earlier on in the day. This horse has only had a few starts on the flat, all of them coming in Germany and France, where he showed some ability, and he's been in decent enough form over hurdles, including a third-place finish at Musselburgh on his most recent start. So he's fit, he's in form, and his first go in a handicap here, his first flat start in Britain. Quite an interesting runner, I would think, given his overall profile. If we drop back a couple, we'll have a look at number 3. We'll come back 3 horses to number 3 and have a look at Bayston Hill for Mark Usher. Got a really good record at this track, 5 times a winner around Chelmsford. Never won a handicap mark this high, and he's probably in the grip of the assessor, really, but it is a bit of a drop back in grade for him, and we know that he handles the surface, and he's a pretty straightforward horse. In front of him in the red sheet is Charlie Fellowes' filly. That is the top weight Nauafeth, daughter of the Factor, who won at Dundalk in a maiden back in October of last year. That was for Kevin Prendergast. Not managed to match that form in 3 starts for this still, but the hood goes on for the first time. They'll be hoping that addition of headgear brings about a little bit of improvement. She's going up in trip for the first time this evening. The horse in front of her in the paddock we'll look at next. Not quite sure which one it is. I think this is the favourite, Morlaix. Yeah, it is. Successful last time out at Wolverhampton, up £5 in the weights for that, but I think that was a reasonable enough run, really. Reasonable enough bit of form. The time was pretty good. The runner-up of Dennis Coakley is an unexposed horse. The third horse, International Law, has won since. As Angus said, maybe didn't get home over a mile 3 at Southwell the time before. Did win at that track prior to that win, and I suspect, given the way that he finished off over 8.5 furlongs last time out, that going up to 10 furlongs shouldn't be too much of a problem. And as George mentioned, given the way that this track has been run, we've seen 1 or 2 horses with form at Southwell going well around here recently. That could be to the advantage of Morlaix, who is a pretty interesting runner, you would think, for this. And if we also have a look at Bad Attitude, he's just going out onto the track, so we'll pick him up down at the start. Bad Attitude, and we've seen what we can see for the time being in the paddock.
Looks pretty well, Morlaix, doesn't he? Jockey Callum Shepherd just got on board, and he's at the head of the market at the moment. 5-2. Bad Attitude sharing that spot, however, and quite solid in the market. Let's get a word on Bad Attitude from you, George. Alice Haynes has taken charge of this horse, who's got some form here.
Yeah, first run for Alice since leaving Luke McJanet, and that run 2 starts back at Wolverhampton when winning, beaten on the right track, is good form. I just think one of this horse's weaknesses, it can travel very strongly, but it can be awkward into stride, and I think one thing we've seen here, you just need to, I'm sure Kieran O'Neill will be aware of that and be keen to get this horse into a good rhythm early doors, and I think if you can get parked up just in a nice position, I'm sure will run well. Yeah,
been in good form, that's for sure. Bayston Hill is third in, and he's also got some decent Chelmsford form. He won here 3 back in early January.
Yeah, this would be a career best for him to win off a mark of 70. He's very consistent, running to sort of mid to high 60s. And he's a horse who takes a lot of organising out the gate. His rider knows him extremely well, Dan Musket, and knows that you've got to get him into stride and organise him early doors. And I think when he won 2 starts back, beating Charlie Arthur, that was good form. And he would need a step up. He's £3 higher than that today, and he would need a career best to be winning this.
Yeah, there is son of Big Bad Bob, off a mark of 70. I think George is right. I think that mark's possibly just a bit above him, really. His last win came off 64 and 67. So, but there he is, going to post. He looks pretty well as he makes his way down. We just need to mention a couple of others, George. Nauafeth, the top one for Charlie Fellowes. He's a Dundalk winner late last year, but nothing much since.
Yeah, and obviously has the application of the first-time hood. And she's a watching brief for me, really, just to see the step up and trip if that suits, and obviously just trying to find her feel their way with her and find what her perfect setup is. And I'm sure Charlie will work that out, but it's early doors with him.
And the Magnifique finally, who's been hurdling and not actually running too badly. Run fairly well at Musselburgh last time up.
Yeah, and the form running on Germany and France as a 2-year-old and latterly as a 3-year-old was pretty straightforward. Ran quite well on heavy ground at when beaten a long way at Saint Cloud, but that was when the horse rolled along, so it might be that Billy Garrity just keeps it simple and keeps things straightforward on this horse.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they will do. They've already had a winner, of course, Keith Dalglish and Billy Garrity in these colours, with Raymond winning earlier on. There he is going to post, and he might be reasonably well treated off 69. He's run well over hurdles off 100 and 119, so it'd be interesting just to see how he gets on here. Another look at the market tells us that Bad Attitude has gone favourite now, 9-4, ahead of Morlaix 5-2 and Bayston Hill 7-2. Le Magnifique 4-1 and 10-1. Now a Feth. Interesting to get a look at Morlaix going to post, because you think he does hit the ground quite hard. He's got quite a round action, and this surface should suit.
I think it will suit him up very well, and he's sort of got that real sort of dirt style, that sort of bit of knee curl, and I think he obviously he's by Mason, which horses that they're really effective on softer ground, and I would have thought this setup here of this deep surface will really suit him, and that was a good performance to win at Wolverhampton last time in what I felt was quite a strong race, and I think a £5 rise is fair. A small field here on the surface that will definitely suit the horse is of interest, and it would be a definite pick for me.
Yep, ideal trip as well. I think 10 furlongs for Morlaix here for David Simcock and Callum Shepherd, and he has just arrived down at the start, just chasing Now a Feth, who has made it there, but runs under a bit of a cloud at the moment, not in any sort of form, the Charlie Fellows filly, but that's Morlaix in short. Let's go and get a few more thoughts from Chris on course.
So they're down at the start for the penultimate race of the evening, and quite a competitive little race, really. I was with you, Angus, really, on siding with Morlaix, who's won 2 of his last 3, and I think he's got plenty in his favour, really, tonight. That form last time out, just working out nicely enough, I think, and he does look like a horse that'll be okay on this surface. As George was saying, maybe the way that it's been riding, it is going to suit him pretty well. He's had one run around here when it was described as slow back in January, and that was the day that he was on the back of some time off, and it was over 6 furlongs, and ultimately he just wasn't anywhere near quick enough for it. But he ran a very nice race. He's progressed from there since, with those 2 wins at Sutherland, then at Wolverhampton, and I think that over this sort of trip, the way that he hit the line over 9.5 last time out, he should be ideally suited by it. So I think he's got a lot in his favour. Bad Attitude, strong enough in the market. He improved for some cheap pieces, didn't he? When he was with Luke McJanet, and he again does back-to-back wins, first here and then at Wolverhampton. He's since switched yards. He's now with Alice Haynes. They've kept with the cheap pieces. They've given him a little bit of a break since they bought him, and they'll be hoping that they get him back to the kind of form that he was in when winning. He was behind Bayston Hill last time that he was seen. That was over this course and distance, in a slightly higher grade than this, a 0-75 that he ran in on that occasion. This is a 0-70. And if they get him back on the up, he's definitely got a chance. He stays further than this, having won over 1.5 miles around Wolverhampton. Bayston Hill ahead of him on that occasion. He's obviously worse off at the weights, Bayston Hill, having gone up to what is a mark higher than he's ever won off in the past, which does make life that little bit more difficult, but he's a consistent horse that you would hope would run his race once again. Le Magnifique, I think, is the really intriguing runner for Keith Dalglish. First going handicap in this country, and aside from being pulled up on his British debut over hurdles, he hasn't missed a beat over timber since. He could have a little bit to offer still, but Morlaix for me as well. Last one's going forward, that will be Bayston Hill, but going to be sent off favourite.
So Bad Attitude, the last one in here, set, 5 runners, dispatched, away they go. The tote.co.uk live streaming every UK race handicap. Class 5 event over 1.25 miles. Bayston Hill on the inside with the cheek pieces. Takes them through at a steady pace. Bad Attitude on the outside, and the brown cheek pieces just headed there by Le Magnifique, who moves up to within about a length of the leader. Nauafeth goes third. Bad Attitude settling in fourth. 2 lengths away, Morley held up at the back of the field in the hands of Callum Shepherd. Morley has won 2 of his last 3 starts in good form. Has to do it on the polo track here at Chelmsford tonight, having won at Southwell and Wolverhampton. So the runners moving across towards the far side of the course, and it's course specialist Bayston Hill, who's won here 5 times in his career so far, who leads the field by a length or so. Le Magnifique racing in second on his all-weather debut, followed by the filly, the grey filly Nauafeth in the hood in third. Then comes Bad Attitude, and then a length and a quarter back to the back marker Morley as they go past the halfway point down the back straight here. So all travelling well within themselves. Bayston Hill and Danny Muscat in front then as they continue to go over on the far side of the track. And just behind them is Billy Garrity, just shaking up then La Magnifique. Le Magnifique then going for a double for him. Wider up, Bad Attitude getting into it as well as they move down towards the 2.5 furlongs from home point. Nauafeth trying hard. Morley travelling really strongly behind them. You can see Callum Shepherd will be watching all the jockeys rowing away in front of him. He's got a lot of horse underneath him as they straighten up now for the judge. But they've got to get to Bayston Hill here, who knows this track so well. And he's got 2 or 3 lengths on the chasing Morley, who goes into second place. Nauafeth down the centre is in third. Just over half a furlong left to go. Bayston Hill, can he hang on? Morley delivering his challenge on the inside, is closing with every stride. Bayston Hill and Morley and Bayston Hill. I think he got there, Morley, under a finely judged ride. A double for Callum Shepherd, and they were clear of Nauafeth and Le Magnifique.
It's another tight finish, but think far side. He's just bobbing at the right time, is Bayston Hill, but I don't think he'd quite got there. I think Callum Shepherd has got enough, hasn't he? And he's managed to get Morley in the winner's enclosure once again. He's now won 2 of his last 3. David Simcox, son of Mason, and he's just managed to pick off Bayston Hill, who has run his usual honest race with the run of things out in front. And Danny Muscat has just kicked off the turn. He's caught 1 or 2 of them out in behind, caught them a little bit flat-footed, but Morley has steadily worked away and he's kept on galloping, kept on grinding, and ultimately he's got there just in time. He's probably won this a shade more comfortably than it looks, really. He doesn't do anything that quickly, but he's a horse that has responded nicely to pressure. He's a big frame of a horse, and you can see why it takes him a little while to wind up and why these surfaces, when they're a little bit slower, probably suit him. But I think that's a well-judged ride from Callum Shepherd. He hasn't been in a rush. He's steadily brought him through with his run, steadily allowed to build up his momentum, and he's just got there at the right time. The other 3 in behind, not really